Strong to team, hating on me, Eugene. BJ the DJ keeps the party going. Brandon E brings repeat. We don't know how to speak. Running wild on you, brother. We're over the top. Rocking it back to the vintage scene. Thursdays at 7 p.m. Central. With epic thumbnails from the vids. It's a must-see. Gonna bring you the best. Legends you remember from the ring and silver screen. We're over the top. Get ready for a good time.
Wow, what's going on, everybody? It's your boy Chad Arms, aka Chatty Bobby Olympic.
Hello, everyone. My name is Tony, aka Friday the 14th.
And I'm the man with the plan, but don't call me Stan. I'm Hot Mike Chance.
Ooh, that was a whole lot smoother this time.
Yeah, I was so full last time.
That's pretty legit. What's up, everybody? I'm the legend,
That facts.
the never before seen,
Facts.
the payday eating, whatchamacallit appreciator, because nobody ever talks about whatchamacallit candy bars. It's your motherfucker. Brandon.
Fun fact, shout out Brandon E. Fun fact, Mel's favorite candy bar is what you call it.
But somebody appreciates it. Whatchamacallit it. Somebody appreciates it.
I got nothing. I'm BJ the DJ.
And I'm Pudgy, son of a towel man, aka Mr. Killer Whole Plate.
I know where you're going.
In the cemetery. we all
Hey,
can
man.
do that.
Hey, look, I know since this show started almost, I have been badgering them here, Tony and Chance,
Yes.
for us to do episodes of Dark Side of the Ring. And then once the fellas started coming around, and it wasn't just me and Tony and Chance, it was Brandon and BJ, I said, let's do Dark Side of the Ring episodes. And then when Pudgy came around, I was like, we got to do Dark Side of the Ring. We're finally here to do some Dark Side of the Ring.
I've been down.
I know.
Yeah.
It's just figuring it. Well, to me, I didn't know how to go about it. Should we just do an episodic review or talk about that, which is probably the better idea.
Yeah.
So that's why we're doing this one. We're doing this episode 176, is about Dark Side of the Ring, the TNA trilogy.
Yeah.
essentially.
Yes.
The 3-part series that was TNA.
Started the
Jeff
new
Jarrett.
season.
But I think this is
Season
an
7.
important one because if you think about every one of us at this table grew up watching Jeff Jarrett.
Mm-hmm.
He's a hometown guy.
Yes.
Me being a Memphis fan, of course, obviously I'm gonna be all for it. But I think this is a good one to start with, just because of the way it ties all of us with the history of not just TNA in Nashville, but also with Jeff Jarrett and Hendersonville and the whole hometown feel.
And
Exactly.
what's crazy, the day after the first one aired, me and Mel was in Hendersonville at Publix, and I almost guarantee I didn't yell out, but I know I saw Jeff Jarrett walking through the parking lot.
You also said the same. You saw Nick Aldis at Walmart in White
100%
House.
White
And I
House,
was like,
yeah.
dude, that's where they live in.
Yeah.
I just wanted to be like, I watched episode part 1, dude. It was dope. Come get on our podcast. He got in a big boy SUV. I was like, yeah, that's probably him.
Yeah, he had Chris Van Vliet and all those.
He just moved to Nashville.
Who, Chris Van
He
Vliet?
just moved to
Chris Van
Nashville.
Vliet was
2 weeks ago.
sitting ringside at SummerSlam.
I need to catch up. I need to go and binge all
Middle
his
to the
pods.
right.
Yeah, Pogger.
He's done some really dope episodes. I know the one person he said he hasn't had on that he wants to have on is Sting. And Sting said it'll happen, just not yet. He don't know when. But I think that I can't wait for that sit down.
We just did AJ Styles when it was fantastic.
Oh, that one was amazing.
The episode that I've seen almost the full of, it's because I love this dude so much, Will Sasso.
Oh,
yeah.
Sasso and
Dan Soder.
Dan Soder.
Oh,
It's so funny.
so good. It's an hour and a half of impressions.
When they call Jesse Ventura and he's doing Jesse Ventura to him, and Jesse Ventura just no selling the shit. He does Jesse Ventura better than Jesse Ventura.
Hey, Killer Cross does a pretty good Jesse Ventura as well.
he
But no,
does.
Chris Van Vliet's probably my favorite wrestling podcast out there right now.
Yes, he's the man.
Yeah, this show, first of all, let me just speak me personally. Dark Side of the Ring, I've watched I've got all 7 seasons. Like, I just buy them on YouTube and then they put them in a folder and I just go through and watch them. I found out about it when it first came out.
Yeah.
And I was like, dude, this is so dope. And then I know Conrad had something to do with the stuff at the beginning or
I
something.
think he does now, but he
Confidential, or when they did that, which I thought that was cool, but then they didn't ever do it again.
Yeah, what it was called, yeah.
But like they had so many banger episodes like early on. And then I just love the way they did it. I've become hooked since.
Oh yeah.
When they announced season 7, because I'm gonna be honest, last year they didn't have a lot of great ones. They had solid ones, but they didn't have any that really stood out, and they have not missed. So
Oh, this season's been. You had the 3-part TNA special that we're going to go over today. Then you had the Samoa Joe Necro Butcher, which I'd never heard of.
Never even knew that was a feud or anything.
Knew nothing about that.
I'm sure you knew.
No, I didn't.
I didn't know because like nobody talked about those matches. Or
You know what's crazy is Samoa Joe is the perfect one to kind of stand up to him. Samoa Joe's a badass, and he just doesn't get the credit he deserves for being as tough as he is. That episode.
Well, I know what
how tough is Necro Butcher?
Fun fact, I talked to Jesse at Danger Zone Video, which we need to get Jesse on.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
He was in the hardcore or the hardcore wrestling or death match. Death match wrestling. He was big in that scene. He's met Necro Butcher a couple times and everything. He said he's one of the toughest son of bitches.
Seems like a very humbled guy.
He says he's one of the smartest men he's ever met too.
Very well spoken, like the way he carried himself, and like
Still doing those matches today.
that's crazy.
The response they had from that episode, I see where Dark Side of the Ring tweeted about would y'all prefer us do more episodic episodes about matches?
Oh, yeah.
That's right.
About so that took off. So
But you know what would be great if they did, like if they could do that, but they could get anybody. Like say you do the Hell in a Cell, Taker and Mankind.
Well, that's the one good one from last year.
Yeah.
You're able to get Taker on there to talk about
that's
it.
true.
You know?
Yeah.
They didn't get to. They did that last year, but they didn't get Taker. They just had Mick.
Yeah.
And it was mainly a Mick Foley episode.
Yeah.
Which that was probably the best one of last year.
Yeah.
But they started this. All 3 episodes of this were great. I don't know how you want to tackle this. If you've got some talking points,
That's a talk. Pretty much it gets it right from the get go. Gets into how Jeff started TNA and everything. Well, and the fallout from when he ending up in WWE, and then the WCW, and then developing TNA wrestling and all that. Which still to me, the whole Owen Hart situation when they talk about that, how he was the very next match to have to walk out after that incident happens.
And they watched him, like they wheeled him right beside him on the gurney, like they wheeled him beside him, and he knew. Like you could tell the interview he does. If you watch that interview.
Oh yeah,
you could tell how just distraught he was.
And wrestlers are built different, and I'll say it because to relate it to us. So like what Jeff Jarrett and Owen Hart, what Jeff Jarrett went through that night was the equivalent as if one of us fell out of that roster roof. And then one of us had to go and wrestle the next night.
Yeah,
because they were close like we are.
Yeah.
So like that.
If I fell out of my chair right now, y'all just kept going with the next.
Probably we would.
Well,
you got to work
tying into that. What do y'all think that happened in '99? It's almost 30 years ago. What would y'all have done in that scenario? Do you cancel the show?
Hard then.
Yeah,
and also
you stopped the show.
I don't think they knew the magnitude of what was happening in the moment. So I think a lot of them, I could be wrong, probably thought he was still alive and he just failed.
Right.
I think so. They kept going, thinking, okay, somebody just got hurt. But after you call it as he died,
Jim Ross, they said, we got 10 seconds. You got to tell him he's dead. And
you got to call that. I think at that point, you got to call it.
I mean, especially once y'all decided to actually say that on air.
Right.
And then you just move.
Like it didn't happen.
Yeah.
Like there was no importance to it.
Yeah.
You got to call that.
I would have put it up to the locker room. Because, some of them guys would be like, Owen Hart would absolutely say, show must go on. We're doing this for Owen.
Yeah.
Or the other ones could have been, no, we need to shut this
But,
down.
put this in
So I would have
perspective.
left it to the locker room.
Yeah, that's a great point right
And
there.
put this in perspective. This is something that didn't sit well with me after the whole thing and they were talking through it or whatever. Is they shut down the entire Raw after Chris Benoit.
Right.
They shut
On
down Raw.
a selfish act.
Not even knowing the details, they shut it down. Like they did a whole tribute.
Yeah.
But they let this show go on.
Well, I think that's why they did it though, because of what backlash they got from '99.
That's where I always thought.
8 years later, they're like, we can't do this again.
Yeah.
They had other wrestlers that died, but like, you know what I'm saying? Like Benoit
That's
died.
only 2 wrestlers I've ever seen die in the ring. It was Owen Hart, which I didn't see it because I wouldn't have remembered it anyway. But also that when Rey Mysterio was wrestling that guy in Mexico, he had that 619 on him and broke his neck and he died in the ring. So like that's the only 2 people I've ever seen really get deathly hurt in the ring.
Ted DiBiase's father died in the ring.
I did not know that.
I didn't know that. I didn't know that.
Yeah.
That's the only
I know
one.
Sid Vicious' leg died in the ring.
That's still the worst thing.
That was like Joe Theismann.
Well, you know, and what's crazy is like most of your major injuries that have been like career ending, there's no footage of any of that.
Yeah.
Like the draws, there's no footage of draws getting injured where he was paralyzed. There's really no footage of Big E getting hurt to the point where he was
There's footage of the
Austin.
guy who got hurt from Mark Jannetty.
okay. Yeah, that guy.
And then Austin, that was
Austin,
SummerSlam.
obviously.
Yeah.
But now that I'm older and I understand the business, I don't think Austin was as hurt as
That was pretty nasty.
right. But like for him to get up and walk off, and he wasn't gone long after that. Like I think it could have been worse than what it was, but I think it was a work on how bad it was hurt.
Yeah.
Now, don't get me wrong. I think he has issues now.
You think he sounded like a stinger?
I think it was. Yeah, I think it was a work on how hurt he actually was. But I
Because
think
he kept wrestling for years after that.
and not just that though, he came back so quickly after the fact, you know. And he may have just been running on piss and vinegar. Who knows? But
So
He didn't
Are-
celebrate. He didn't really
No.
partake in Hart treatment.
Really?
oh no, he hates Owen Hart.
Because Owen Hart did call him after.
he
He has said that. He has said that.
I need to move
He
these
has said
cards.
No, you're good.
No, he has said that. But in the whole TNA thing, man, like for me, there for a while, TNA was neck and neck with WWE.
I would
They
watch
were-
WWE.
They were the hottest thing, and I'm talking about at the peak when they had Cena as champion, Batista as champion. TNA was right there with them, and
TNA made the same downfall that AEW is making right now. Instead of growing talent and riding on it focuses on
Leftovers.
Yeah.
and when they got
Once
the
they started
Angle,
getting Angle was good, but once you start bringing in the Hardy Boys and all
I'm
those,
telling you,
like,
I'm telling you, dude. I'll say this, and we got to cover this somewhat. The year of 2005,
Yep.
pay-per-view year of 2005, TNA, I will put up against any year of WWE
Absolutely.
and WCW.
absolutely.
Pay-per-view for pay-per-view, match for match. I'm telling you, dude. 2005 TNA was the best. It was some of the best wrestling there was.
Yeah.
Yeah,
All
no,
for
X
me.
Division, X Division, the
Yeah.
anniversaries.
And that's before Angle. So see,
Knockouts,
Angle,
Yeah.
05 is when you had, but mainly it started out late 04, early 05. It was like, Monty Brown.
Yep.
It was Monty Brown, and then it was like Abyss.
Yep.
And Jeff Hardy was there.
Yep.
And then Jeff Jarrett, obviously. But
AJ was getting his
AJ
shine.
was Christopher Daniels, Petey, the Canadian Destroyer.
Yeah,
Petey Williams.
Motor City Machine
Yeah,
Guns.
Petey Williams. Yeah.
Was that Team Canada? Were they?
Yep.
Yeah, Team
That was
Canada.
Chris, Eric Young.
Cass
Yeah.
Kazarian.
I said Chris
Citizens.
Young.
Yeah, they had a good 5-year run when they brought Hogan on.
But what you were saying, all that right there was natural talent that they were raising talent from
Yes.
young talent that they
That's all
signed.
they could really get at the time.
Well, the exception to all that was Sting. Sting was the veteran that they brought in, and I'll even give Christian Cage some credit because
He was great too.
he was great at his time with
They
TNA.
didn't talk about him.
Yeah,
None.
they didn't touch
I don't know
on
if he had an issue with, and I'll tell you, he was great in that time frame. But one of the biggest things, and this is coming from me, and I'm not like the hugest fan of this, but then I was, the Knockouts division in TNA in
They
2005
were detrimental.
was it was the best.
Yeah.
They were headlining some of those.
It's the
pay-per-views.
first showcase of female.
Awesome Kong and
Great
Gail Kim
talent,
killed the shit.
Awesome Kong was the highlight
Yeah.
of the 3 episodes.
Yeah,
in my opinion. Every time she was on the camera, I loved seeing all
Terry
that.
Terrell.
She was
Beautiful people.
Her and Gail Kim's matches were incredible.
Gail Kim left WWE because women weren't getting an
Yes,
opportunity
she
to
said that
wrestle.
to us when we went.
Yes, I remember that. And
Yeah.
so her and Awesome Kong put on. They walk so the divas now, or the women
Yeah.
now can they crawl so they can walk. Well, I
Yes.
mean I'm telling you, we would not have the women wrestling we have right now if it wasn't for TNA.
Yeah,
and the early
Facts.
Yeah.
Facts, because in 2005, WWE, there wasn't a women's division like that.
No.
There was a couple. There was a
The
couple.
divas.
But in 05, there really wasn't a lot of divas. It was like,
Bra and panty matches.
yeah, that's what I'm saying. It wasn't. I wasn't wrestling, but like, we'll bounce around on this
Oh,
because it's a
yeah.
3-parter. But like going back to like Jeff Jarrett, what were y'all's thoughts of him in WCW, in WWE, just as a talent?
I think he was a great mid-carder. I never thought he was a main card talent and everything. He's a great intercontinental champion, in my opinion, and all that. So he's right
Great
there.
heel.
Great heel. I love the guitar gimmick about him and everything. I like the WCW version of Jeff Jarrett more than the country music singer.
Be My Baby Tonight.
Be My Baby Tonight. Double J, double E, double F.
Yeah.
What about in the episode where he did? There's the whole thing we find out. And first of all, let me say this: Dark Side. Jim Cornette needs to be in every single episode.
Every single episode.
He's the only one I believe.
When he's not there in the episode, I'm going to be honest with you. It doesn't hit the same. for me.
Yeah.
Right.
I don't watch those as much. Jim Cornette needs to be, and I know
He's a
that
wrestling historian.
and I know that he's not involved in every story, but
He knows.
He knows the story.
Yeah, I just wanted to say that Jim Cornette is.
He's not everybody's he's not everybody's cup of tea, but he's
I'm talking about in that lane. though,
he's facts.
Yeah,
He's facts. Even though he's got chance blocked on Twitter.
Well, everybody has chance.
Chance be real.
Chance block.
Chance is a very heel character on Twitter.
I think Jeff Jarrett's one of the top 5 heels of all time. He's very easily hated in his character because he is so over the top. Shout out over the top. He is so over the top with his antics, how he interferes. The guitar shots always play a factor, and it didn't matter man or woman; they can both
No,
get it.
and he was laying in that shot.
Get it? So I think.
Shout out to the Attitude Era.
Yeah,
Oh, shit, boy.
and growing up as a huge Memphis wrestling fan, he was always the ultimate face, right?
Mm-hmm.
But the heel WCW Jeff Jarrett, to me, like I said, top 5 all time.
Well, when you say Attitude Era, that was my favorite.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett, the pissed off buzz cut.
Pissed me off.
That was my favorite. I didn't care for the curly hair.
Yeah.
You know,
When he got his Attitude Era upgrade.
I'd say
that
that
was when I
too.
could watch it.
And that carried over to the WCW and everything.
Before he goes to WCW, let's talk. One I wanted to bring up was part in the episode where he holds Vince up.
Oh yeah,
Yep.
Do y'all think he was justified in doing that?
Absolutely.
absolutely. I would have too.
For the
No.
cash?
Where it was for 100,000, and then he walked around and said, I need 300.
Sure, he had the upper hand.
I would have gave him the first, but whenever he come back and asked for more, I would have said,
All right,
"Give my money back."
All right, I'll give you 50.
And it was because he wanted. They had him. They was going to have him lose to China.
You know, so and he was on his way out anyways.
Which
But you
I
were
don't
gonna
think
pay
he
Didn't
had
they
a
owe him
problem.
money though? Didn't
Yeah.
he say they owed him money
Yeah.
or something?
He was going to have to pay
What do you
enough
think?
to wrestle.
I'm just bad on
Is what
those
he
kind
said.
of bridges.
Yeah.
I mean, he got lucky and it worked out for him, but that's
He had Vince by the balls.
But
You're going to pay him to
But-
wrestle or pay him not to wrestle.
if we're going to look at it like
yeah.
at the time in '98, it was good. But then Vince got the last laugh in '01,
Yeah.
Live.
where he said JEFF, you're
GONE.
Oh, yeah. GOONEE.
That's why he had to create that thing and wrestle basically for peanuts for years and years and years.
Actually, what was it?
He burned. Yeah.
Yeah.
And then to me, it just ain't worth it for me. I would never do that. But to each his own. I mean, it worked out for him.
I mean, it does take balls for you to do something like
Yeah.
that, and it just. I don't think Jeff Jarrett was as big a star to really do that. But Vince being the ultimate businessman is like, show's got to go on. We got to finish. We got to get over here. We got to make China look strong.
No.
And I'm not just going to go out there and start a tournament for an IC title hours before the show.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he did what he had to do. But just like the Warrior situation, like, I knew he was going to get fired right after anyway.
Yeah.
Well, then I figured too. That time frame that they were talking about when he did that, I know that's when that time frame where his first wife was really sick with cancer. There's no telling what kind of medical bills they had and things like that. And where he was at mentally, he was raising those three girls essentially by himself.
Yep.
So I know that he was going through a lot. And one thing I love to see about this, getting to see more. Jeff Jarrett's very good at these interviews too.
Oh yeah,
Very
yes,
good at,
yes.
these episodes and stuff. So hopefully they talk to him more about other stuff.
Yeah.
So he can be on future episodes, but
Well, in wrestling minds, you got to put him on in that top category of wrestling minds and
those
stuff.
pops and then his
Yeah,
I think that hurt him in WCW with who he was, who his dad was. I mean, in WWE, I think he showed that he could be in the top in like TNA and WCW, but I don't think Vince McMahon was ever going to give him that
Because of Jerry?
opportunity.
Because that was the one territory he couldn't shut down.
Yep.
Yeah.
Like Vince tried for years to shut him
You
down.
so it was like a
I'll make you
Like,
back
Yeah.
for it.
it's kind
Spike
of just like
happened.
what he did whenever he bought WCW. What he did to Jeff Jarrett is the same thing. Like I'm gonna show you that okay, your son's here, but he's just gonna be.
I'm telling you, y'all got to go back and watch. Y'all got to watch the WWE invading Memphis. Like it's a whole. You got to watch that because that's where like the heel McMahon character first took place.
First time it ever happened.
And I'm telling you, like Vince went to Memphis because he knew Memphis was a hot territory. He
Well,
knew
between Jerry and Lawler alone.
Yeah.
that.
Bless you.
I mean, I grew up watching like it's like you. I watch USWA.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Every single Saturday morning. They had the superstars and WCW. I mean, I watched them every single Saturday morning.
Yeah.
So it was like a tie with me. I have a lot of, Jeff Jarrett for me, I have a lot of, me and him kind of parallel cross each other a lot during that TNA era. I don't talk about it a lot, but I was out in the clubs a lot.
Mm-hmm.
And I never talk about it, but I would see Jeff Jarrett a lot out.
Mm-hmm.
And then be kind of alone.
Mm-hmm.
Inside of the bar a lot. I would see him depressed, drinking.
Sure, and he tells that story.
Yeah.
I didn't know why.
Yeah.
Right. You do now. Yeah.
I didn't go back to my group that I would be out with to go, hey, I see Jeff Jarrett over there.
Yeah.
But I would see him in a point, and I would see him depressed.
Yeah.
And I would see him violence, and I would see him taken down.
Yeah.
And so, but I never knew his why.
Reason why? Yeah.
Yeah.
But I would see him, but also was a weekly TNA watcher, and I used to go. I was a gym guy at the time, and I would also be in the gym, and I would see Jeff Jarrett in there, and I would see him on the phone with Lord knows who ever. But I would hear him planning matches and storylines, and I would sometimes eavesdrop
Oh,
in
yeah,
on
of
him,
course.
Yeah.
and then I would watch the show that week, and I would hear what he
Put
said,
one
and it
and
would
one
happen.
That's wild. That's
It was
wild.
super cool. It was early
Yeah.
active. The gym doesn't exist anymore.
Yeah.
That's cool as hell.
But
You have your own hotline.
Yeah, it really was.
You didn't need to call me, Gene.
It was so cool though, but he's a nice guy. He's a nice guy because there was people in there who were like power lifters and bodybuilders who worked out. There was one guy in there who worked out really hard, and he was in a wheelchair. But I guess he was like a former bodybuilder. And Jeff Jarrett would talk to him a lot, and he was like, coming in one day and saying, "Man, my son really wants trading cards and this and that." Jeff Jarrett bought him.
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett's a nice guy.
Never heard anything negative about him.
I'm real like.
I've heard
like-
something negative one time.
I'm sure you're gonna hear it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I kind of like take over my life because like I was seeing some personal stuff at the same time of like being like you as a kid watching it
Yeah.
from a territorial aspect and the global aspect because we all watch WCW and WWE, but we also watch USWA, but we seen the growth of TNA. But I'm seeing some personal stuff going on right in my backyard.
Yeah.
So I'm kind of a big fan of the dude.
Yeah, I've never,
yeah.
I've never heard anybody say anything negative about how they couldn't approach him or couldn't have a conversation.
I talk to him all the time in the gym.
Yeah, people always say he's very approachable. He's never been that one who, if he's a heel, he plays a heel out in public.
I never told him I seen him out though.
Yeah.
And that's wild. Wasn't we just talking last week about how many celebrities Brandon crosses?
Yeah, we did say that.
Like
We
he
did
made
say
a
that.
list.
He's got
It's on the rewrap.
Yeah, I
A
remember.
list of all the celebrities that Brandon just.
Brandon
Brandon
every day talking about he
knows.
just ran into Travis Henry like it was nothing.
Terry Bradshaw.
T-Hen.
No big deal. No big deal.
I remember the T-Hen days.
The end days.
I didn't realize that Jeff and Vince Russo were such good big
Yes,
buddies.
that's the one thing that I kind of just like, I don't get.
Like you're so cool with Vince. I'm not a Vince
I
Russo
just-
As
fan.
much as him and his dad get to
I just-
The issue
that was
with
the
his
thing.
dad shocked me. I didn't
Yeah.
realize that they had been estranged for so long.
But Jerry Jarrett feeling the way he felt about Vince Russo, I totally understand.
I get it.
Because
They
Vince
just
Russo-
thought business was different. I mean, it's like
Yeah.
Jerry Jarrett almost took over for WWE when Vince McMahon was going to go to prison.
Yeah.
No.
So it's just, they just thought business different.
I love hearing how he got out of the TNA thing. He went and was seen on camera at WWE while he was.
Who was the guy he was with? The Russian dude?
It was,
Jerry Jarrett was with?
Starts with a V. What's his name?
Von Ruski.
No, Red Trunks.
I can see.
Cosmo.
Yeah, that's it.
He looked like Gunther before
Yeah.
Had the furry head.
Looked like my old
At the
supervisor.
US. Looked
He was
like
supposed
Sam
to be
Dean from
Gunther.
Street
He was
Fighter,
Gunther
is
before
who he looked
Gunther.
like.
Yeah.
But he was like supposed to be a big thing too.
Yeah.
I didn't know that to watching that. I was like, what's fun?
I only remember him and Santino Morello.
They tried to build
Yeah,
it for a minute.
they tried for a
Did
while.
they let him be like somebody? Was Taker a singer or somebody back in the day?
I know he beat the brakes off Shawn Michaels
Yeah, they tried to get
for
him
about a
up.
good 3 months
Yeah.
or so. But yeah, that shocked me. That part of it was
Yeah,
really
that was
eye-opening to me, 'cause
interesting.
I didn't realize him and his dad were that had
Yeah.
that type of relationship.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then he brought Russo in, 05, 06 when he brought Cornette in, and they talked Jim Cornette because Jim Cornette's so close with Jeff, and it was Jerry and Jeff's grandmother is what brought Jim Cornette in the rest of the business. So
Yeah.
thank goodness for her because that dude is,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
been a huge. So like, that's when stuff started getting weird. And then when they were going and showing some of that stuff with the little person in the trash can. And,
Yeah, that was.
And then you had
But that was Vince Russo,
You
right?
asked Vince Russo, and he's like, I'm doing the Jerry Springer show, and he's doing USWA in 1978.
Right.
Or whatever he said. This is entertainment, bro.
Yeah, it was-
But, and then Jeff said, well, I was able to work it because I could go to Vince for this and my dad for this, but it just didn't.
It didn't match.
stick. But
And at that time, I think where they were coming out of the weekly pay-per-view thing and going more into I think they were going into Universal Studios. They were going into, because Cornette was an on-air personality at that point when they got to where they
It
were
was
doing
06, yeah.
a weekly show. Yeah,
but they were doing the
Cornette was-
monthly pay-per-views, just
Yeah.
the weekly television.
The monthly pay-per-view era of TNA is so wild because that was a who's who of independent wrestlers coming
That's what I was
in.
saying. Christopher Daniels had the match of the night on almost every one of them.
I think
Yeah.
Frankie Kazarian is one
Yeah.
of them.
Elix Skipper when they did, when Elix Skipper was doing the tightrope on the 8-sided cage, that was the
Oh, my
craziest thing I've
gosh,
ever
yeah.
seen in wrestling.
And
Still.
going back to that too, is that one of their big mistakes too is getting away from that A
One,
side.
whenever
Biggest mistake.
I'm going to say it right now, the reason TNA fell to where it is because of Hulk Hogan. and
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's-
And Dixie
1000%.
Carter. And Dixie Carter.
Dixie Carter.
Dixie Carter's the
But Dixie Carter allowing Hulk Hogan,
Exactly.
that's what I should say. I'm sorry.
That episode when they did the coronation of Hogan, like they brought in the outsiders off the rip. They ruined the fact that Eric Bischoff was there in the promo. Like it just wasn't handled good. But that's one of the most memorable episodes for all the things they did wrong.
Yeah, I never seen the scene where she basically had them all in like an empty room,
Yeah.
basically threatening their jobs.
Yeah.
I've never seen that.
If you
If
don't
you
want
don't
to
like it, leave.
Yeah.
if you don't like it, leave.
Whenever they start describing, when Jeff Jarrett starts describing the dynamic, once she came in and slowly started to try to weed him out, and then there was the whole deal with that, and then of course Vince Russo's in the middle of it, and Jim Cornette's in the middle of it because they're cool on both sides and trying to. So it was a whole fight back and forth with that, but then like it started.
How she used Jeff Jarrett just to get
Yeah.
Hogan,
And then send him home.
and then send him home.
And then Jeff Jarrett basically she just deboed him out of his power in the company that he started.
Yeah.
Legally, I don't see how that.
But it's because they was the one providing the
They-
finances.
yeah, they had
So
all
it's like,
the-
well,
Her parents were.
Yeah.
Not-
Yeah.
but I'm saying, but
They
she's
gave her the power.
she's their parent. It's all one thing.
Oh.
And I think that was probably tied into the whole thing. Like, we'll fund this thing, but Dixie needs a job.
Well,
Yeah.
that was never said. I never heard nobody
And nobody officially
say
said that.
That's
And
why I
what's
was
crazy is
wondering.
the Hardys didn't say anything negative
Oh,
about
would
Dixie.
not. Said I would.
I thought that was
There's like a
kinda-
handful of them since the smoke's cleared. It's been out a few weeks. There's been a handful of wrestlers and personalities that have said she was kind of fairly mistreated to represent like what they said.
Oh, really?
Only a handful.
Yeah.
And, you know, sometimes silence is a thing because she still hasn't said a thing.
Yeah.
About it, you know.
Yeah, they
What
said
would
she
you-
declined.
Yeah. So, I mean,
Jeff Jarrett told her that he was going to do this, told her what he was going to say, and she still declined.
And you're right, Matt Hardy.
Matt Hardy
Right
didn't
now
say a
and said,
negative
I
word
will
at all
not.
about her.
Yeah.
He said, I love Dixie, and you won't hear a bad word coming out of my
I mean,
mouth.
but he probably got paid.
That's what I'm saying. That's why Kevin Nash wasn't talked to. I'm
Yeah.
sure. Because
And
Kevin.
there was, so the rumor has it that Dixie was pretty involved with some of the guys.
That's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Past.
I'm sure she.
Well,
You heard him say
Kevin
Kevin
came
Nash.
up, and also Sting's name came up in that.
I've
whole
heard
thing.
both of them names brought up
I
in
haven't
shoot
heard.
interviews from multiple people.
That they were
The
involved.
Kevin Nash whining and dining her like him
Yep.
and his buddies.
Just
They
for
were
a
that-
paycheck. For a paycheck.
Blew him her
She
shoulder.
was a money mark.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well,
for sure.
Exactly.
And you know, I met.
Jeff saw it. Hulk saw it. Eric saw it. Everyone saw it.
Then it became. It just literally became like they copied and pasted.
Yep.
WCW 99 and 2000
Yeah.
and pasted it.
Yeah.
to
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
2000, 10 years later, 09 is whenever they came in.
I mean, and you know what's crazy? It's like we talk about WCW a lot. We talk about Eric Bischoff, and we talk about how WCW had this ultimate run. We got to remember, they went to the well too many times, and they failed because they shut down. If they really were as strong-minded, or knew the business as well as they did, they would have foreseen this coming and changed their route and went a different path, but they didn't. If they would have made Booker T world champion 6 to 8 months earlier than what they did,
Sure.
or started pushing those younger guys, maybe WCW would still be around, WWE would have folded, but they didn't. Because Austin only had a run of what, 12, 14 months?
Wasn't long.
Yeah.
14 months, and then people put him on a pillar. Like, who's
Because
to
it was
say?
so impactful.
Right, in that short amount of time, but who's to say something wouldn't have changed and WCW still be around right now?
Well, I feel like WCW uses the 86 weeks as like the Al Bundy 4 touchdowns.
Exactly. You're absolutely
That's a
right.
great comparison.
It was great.
Right.
It was great, but it was still.
But
Y'all
we
still
talk
got-
about at that time of WWE, the main card was the main factor for WWE at that time. The mid card and below was.
That's a year and a half.
I'm gonna say. I'm gonna say it like
We're
I've
not
tried
boys.
from '97.
WWE still around.
Exactly.
Right. Period. From '97 to '99, I'm gonna be honest. The wrestling in WWE outside of Shawn and Brett, I mean,
Terrible.
Yeah.
what are we doing?
That's true.
As far as the quality of match, Taker, you throw Taker in there. But Taker wasn't having great matches in '97, '98.
No, it was-
Really banged up during those years.
That's what I'm saying, and even Shawn was.
And that was my whole purpose when I said that what I said about who had a better career. It's not a knock on Taker at all, because Taker's a legend.
Yeah.
But his best years, like, were during the Attitude Era. After that, it was scarce. Like, he had a couple good runs with that World Heavyweight title, but Sting's longevity, when do you remember Sting taking time off?
Yeah.
For that extent, like, very seldom. He never got hurt. He was never missing any shows. Like, he was there every single week.
Right. He got a free year during the Crow.
But he was still on TV, though.
He never wrestled though.
Right.
Yeah.
Well, the thing with
That was by design.
Sting,
Hitting homers though.
the thing with Sting
Hitting
was
dingers.
Sting's whole thing, same as AJ. They just never went over. They went over too late.
Yeah.
They went over to WWE. They finally gave in to WWE too late in their career.
Right.
Sting,
AJ got a run,
AJ still had
Sting
7, 8,
did a
9 year run.
AJ got a run. AJ got
WWE did
But if-
nothing for Sting.
If AJ would have came
Nothing for
over,
his career.
if AJ would have came over from TNA to WWE when it got bad in '09, when Punk had just gotten there,
Absolutely.
and
They would have
John Morrison,
They would have never done anything for AJ Styles during that era.
You're right. You're
they
absolutely
may not
right.
have, but they pushed Punk,
Yeah.
and Punk was.
They had no choice.
And
Yeah, but I think that he would have gotten-
They did the same for Brian Danielson too. So
Yeah, I think that
They
he
had no
would have.
choice.
yeah,
I think that
fans wanted it.
because in 09, 2010, that's when TNA was getting bad anyway. But I mean,
For me, I stopped watching TNA after Sting left. When Sting said he was done, I would catch like certain episodes when like Lashley was there, McIntyre was there,
I didn't watch
Nick
that.
Aldis was champion. Like, I was watching episodes then. I was like, this is tough to watch.
Nothing was
Because
drawing.
nothing was
yeah,
nothing
04
was,
to 08.
nothing was
Once they got
planned. It was
the-
just kind of like a whole bunch of stuff running together.
No, I still watch it. Like during the whole like the Aces and Eights and all that stuff.
Oh, I love that.
I still liked all of that stuff. Honestly, I just kind of could have watched it when I had a hard time finding the channel.
Yeah,
Exactly.
for
That's
sure.
true.
That's
Yeah,
hard.
That's true. They made it hard to find. They changed it to this
I
channel,
still
that
just-
channel.
I-
Some days it's Tuesday, some days
Yeah.
it's Wednesdays.
I started switching the stations I had never even heard
And I
of.
was always curious about this.
Destination
So,
America.
I never heard of it until TNA.
if we're talking about TNA wrestling, what do you think is the greatest storyline that TNA has ever done?
That's a good question.
Because for me, it's the main event Mafia. And I was always curious, like, just like with Hogan being the head of the NWO, which nobody really saw coming, we expected, but we didn't see it coming, why Jarrett wasn't included in that whole main event Mafia thing when they did that. Like, the ultimate FU to the organization is like, let me bring back Jeff Jarrett. Like, let me do this. Let me bring Jarrett into the fold here because he's a world champion. He fit all the criteria, everyone in that group, right? I don't know why they didn't include him in that.
I think that's a good one. I would say probably Angle and Samoa Joe's just whole feud.
Oh, for
The
sure.
matches they had was some of the best stuff TNA ever did.
Yeah, Angle
When
and
he got
TNA.
when they first linked and then the headbutt and all that shit, bro.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
So,
headbutt.
I just love the match. But to me, honestly, the best thing to me that's ever been with TNA is the X Division.
Yes.
For sure.
The X Division and the guys, the matches that they got out of those guys in that division. Not just AJ, Christopher Daniels,
Low-key.
Pete.
No, I think you hit the
Pete-
nail on the head
Pete
with
Williams,
the knockouts. I think you hit the nail on the head.
There's a lot
so
of different.
good.
There's a lot of different things that they did. They didn't have to have that undeniable feud storyline because honestly, nobody really watched. And this is no knock to Jeff Jarrett, but in 05, 04, like that time frame, it was like him and Monty Brown is like it's the main event, and
Yeah.
him and like those were cool, but like I was watching the X Division, the tag matches,
Yeah.
the knock,
I
like
watched
that's,
anything AJ Styles did.
yeah, anything he
yeah.
did, bro. Like, cause you don't know what he's gonna do next, especially when they had the cage matches.
There was a
But-
lot about TNA that I loved from like when they started. Their tag team division was second to none. They were killing WWE every aspect.
Beer
of
Money's
the
still
tag.
one of my favorite.
Beer
Yeah,
Money,
like shit.
America's Most Wanted. You had Motor City Machine Guns. Like
Yeah.
they had the best tag team divisions in the business.
And I still like James Storm's solo run.
Yeah.
Dude,
Shut-
him and early on,
Yeah.
him and Chris
Harris.
Harris tag team was great, and Bobby Roode was in the Team
Yeah.
Canada.
Bobby Roode's like shit.
That's
yeah.
before beer, like well, he
Fun
was beer money,
fact,
right?
fun fact
Yeah.
about James
Yeah, Bobby
Storms,
Roode.
he sells real estate now,
Yeah.
right? His son competes ninja at that gym in Columbia, and he was
He
at
lives
one
in
of the
Columbia.
he was at one of the competitions. And I was like, man, that's James Storm, man. I know that's him. So I went over and introduced myself to him. He goes, man, you're like the only person that knows who I am, right?
He's a big Kentucky fan.
I'm a nerd. I'm a wrestling nerd.
Wildcat nickname comes from.
Oh, that makes sense.
Chris Harris.
Yeah, but they had the best.
That makes sense.
They had the best tag team, man.
The one question I have from them is I've seen clips of it before, but the whole Jeff Jarrett Sting championship match where Jeff Jarrett came out. I mean, not Jeff Jarrett, Jeff Hardy.
Yeah.
Jeff Hardy. I've seen clips of where he came out completely just trashed.
I
How
watched that live.
how would you let him? I understand it's the main event of the card and everything.
Gotta get it in the ring, bud. They applied that Vince McMahon logic.
Yeah, I mean, it's like you could clearly see how messed up this guy is.
Well, Bischoff's the one that went in there and said, "Get what the hell's going on? Like, why'd y'all let him out here?" Type shit.
Right.
And I know that they were saying we were just hoping that he'd hit the ring and he'd beat Jeff, you
Yeah.
know, because let's be honest, that's probably happened to him before.
Oh,
He went
yeah,
out
for sure.
a bunch,
For sure.
and they were just like, "Oh well, yeah, he'll."
Oh, man, I've seen.
switch.
I went to a show at the Asylum and seen him back there hit the pipe, and I was like,
Really?
yes.
I thought it
I
was
said it
just
on one of the
all
episodes. I said it on one of the
Exactly.
episodes earlier.
God,
Pod,
pipe?
Yeah, he was back there hitting the pipe.
Sadly,
Yeah,
that's
like
Bad, man.
That's-
My buddy was wrestling as an extra for TNA, and he was
Colorado
like, "Come back here."
Kid?
No. He said, "Come back here and say hi, man." I was like, "All right, cool." So they had that big roll up door in the back, and I went back there, man. He was just sitting in the
That's
corner in
sad.
that pipe, man.
I mean, he owns up to his past.
No, yeah,
Yeah, he's doing great now.
Yeah,
and I love that they're still. Are they in?
Yeah, they're still going.
I think,
Tag teams-
and I think they're WWE's hesitant about giving them that last run because
They don't need it, bro.
They don't need it.
Give them the Hall of Fame and something.
They were the NXT champions, but I think
I think they're TNA champions right now.
I think they.
TNA's part of WWE.
It is.
Right.
That's what I'm saying. Just let them.
All that Nick, all the stuff they showed yesterday was a lot of it was TNA.
Yeah,
footage.
Yeah.
for sure. Yeah.
Do you think they even need a WWE run again?
I don't think so.
I think they're
I don't
good.
think so.
If they're still in TNA, still doing shit, I think they should just let
I
them keep
think
doing what they're
because
doing.
they
Sales
changed the
tickets.
titles.
Yeah.
They've got new tag. They don't really have new tag teams, but like I think they're just wanting to kind of give the guys coming up a rub. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
As long as they stick with the Hardys and not Willow and
Right, yeah.
delete.
Well, if they-
Yeah,
if-
yeah. As long
what
as they
they-
stick with that.
One thing I do want to touch on somewhat before we end the episode too is the whole deal in the three-part of the Jeff Jarrett, Karen Angle, Kurt Angle.
I would have.
What are
never
y'all's
thought-
thoughts on all of that?
I would have
After
never thought that wasn't legit. Like when they told me that they were separated and they were using Karen to kind of be a help, like pretty much a guide for
she was basically his
his caregiver.
that's basically what Mel is for me a lot of the times.
Yeah.
What's the word? Not caregiver.
Handler.
Handler.
Mel's my handler.
All the whites in the room.
She knows, bro. She knows.
Definitely
She knew exactly where I was going with that.
Why do you think she's with me everywhere?
All right, it's not-
Trust me, this bitch fighting somebody.
I'll be like, dude, how do I get out of the parking spot?
I ain't gonna mind it. So.
Man, Angle was so out of his mind at that point, man. Like,
But it's crazy how good he was performing at that time.
dude, my
But
favorite,
hearing
my
the
favorite
ice
Angle-
pack stuff. That
My
they were saying,
favorite Angle
yeah.
moment was when he was holding all the belts. He was
Yeah.
tag champions with Sting. That's when they brought in Pac-Man, and
Yeah.
Pac-Man and R-Truth won the tag titles off Sting and Kurt Angle. That was my favorite Kurt Angle in TNA. He had every belt. He even had the IWGP title. He didn't care. Like he was walking around with all the straps. That's my favorite Kurt Angle in TNA.
It's insane. But like
Herc Angle was different, bro.
Yeah, he
Angle
was
different.
on another level of just.
Them perks can make you a superhero.
They did.
I thought you couldn't tell me I couldn't lift everything in Lowe's no.
That flip off the stage onto
Yeah.
Abyss is like, just look how far he went with no care if he
No,
fail
just-
or miss.
The-
Shout out Abyss. Abyss is underrated.
Shout out to Abyss. Honey.
He's so creative right now.
Look,
He's
there's
great.
that's
He's great.
one guy that I don't understand how he never got
Yeah.
a WWE push ever.
Because
They could have utilized
They
him.
would have had him dressed up in like some sort of pajama pants and like a mask. and-
Maybe because he was too much like Mick
That's
Foley.
that's why.
It was like Mick Foley and Kane combined.
Yeah, that's what it was.
a more athletic Mick.
They would have
Foley.
ruined him.
Dude, his matches in 05 TNA,
Yeah.
That stuff he do already.
That's my favorite.
All that, yeah.
you can get the TNA app for $8 a month, bro, and it's got all of those pay-per-views on it. It's worth spending 15,
I
20
still
bucks for a couple months.
the TNA DVDs.
Yeah.
Some of those are pretty valuable right now. Too.
I spent a lot of money on them TNA $5 DVDs and hauls back in the day.
Old Don West.
I still
Old
got them.
Don West, RIP.
R.I.P.
Between selling that and
probably
Beanie Babies.
Tony these baseball cards.
Yeah, I feel like Don West and some of these.
There might be a chance to see NBC VHS.
That Beanie Babies. He was selling the hell out of Beanie Babies back in the day too.
Me and Brandon used to stay up at 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning watching BET Uncut, and then we'd flip it over. Stay up and we would watch the QVCs with Don West on them and just cry.
I'm trying to kick it tonight. Dude, you tell me what that thing.
But still, one thing we haven't acknowledged over here is we
What
have
an insane title and idea for a song.
The
Tell me
name of
what
the
that
group
thing
was Like Jesus.
It was that and Tip Drills, all they showed. Tip Drill and that. What that thing's
If
called.
anybody's got a Black Jesus CD, sell it to me.
I'll trade you a King Rookie rookie card.
Ain't nobody got one.
one thing we haven't acknowledged is the original TNA action figures we got here: Samoa Joe,
Pudgy brought those in for us.
AJ Styles, short hair AJ.
I mean, look at him
That was
ripped.
before he was phenomenal.
Yeah,
That's AJ Styles.
Yes.
And
I
then
love
the
Suicide
Suicide one.
one. Yeah, Suicide.
Oh, okay,
They
yeah.
still got the TNA.
Which I mean, those are my two. I don't know if anybody has favorite TNA
Yeah,
wrestlers,
2010.
but those are my 1 and 2 favorite. AJ Styles and Samoa Joe are my 2
Yeah.
favorite.
Mine was
yeah,
obviously
yeah.
Kurt Angle and Sting,
Sting,
but I loved
and that was who
Beer
came
Money.
with the pack.
Yeah, Beer Money.
Well, then AJ, Samoa Joe, and Christopher Daniels had some killer three-way matches.
Oh yeah.
Well,
And we talked about the tag team
Sting
division
was
also, but like the Dudley Boys helped put TNA on
Oh,
that
yeah,
too.
Team
That would have been
yeah.
to me if you've got like tier of like signees, you've got Sting here, you've got Angle, and you've got the Dudleys. In the early days of TNA, the Dudley Boys were amazing. That was a good get.
I
even
was more of
years
a
later-
Bully Ray.
I was gonna say, even then,
Bully Ray.
2012, Bully Ray.
Yeah.
Bully Ray,
revamped
yes,
TNA
he
back
sure
then too,
did.
as a heel.
He was
When he came back swollen, everybody's like, "What? Where did
Yeah,
Bully
where-
Ray go?"
that's
What
a-
is-
Bully Ray
Aces and
gimmick.
eight stuff.
Yeah.
Yes, the Bully Ray gimmick was
Bully Ray was
phenomenal.
awesome.
Phenomenal. Yes.
But
Miss S. Mocker too.
Yeah. If y'all want to catch,
Boy.
You said the female wrestlers, the Beautiful People, was one of my favorite tag teams on there.
They were
Like,
great.
and they were an amazing
Yeah.
team. ODB's big
Yeah.
ass.
Well, they were innovative. They had the
Awesome.
knockout tag titles
Yeah.
too. Like they were the first ones to do that. And
well, that like going back to Awesome Kong. I mean, it's like who can beat her?
Right.
Who can beat? and she-
Legit, like, for real, yeah.
like legit. Who?
Yeah.
I
and-
throw bitches.
She was like y'all
That's the
said.
best thing about it. I throw bitches.
We all agreed in text story though too. She was the star.
She was the star.
That's the quote. I throw bitches.
Yeah.
So, and one more
she
thing,
was also
I
in
do
the
want
Glow.
to.
She was in the Glow series.
I want to say about that when she was talking about how some of the higher end knockout wrestlers had to have second jobs as waitresses.
Yeah.
She didn't even say what the jobs were. She just said they weren't
Yeah.
the greatest jobs. So I don't know if they were having to dance or if they were having to serve, bartender, whatever.
Put it on a platter.
But like, she's like, you're telling me that I'm not even a tenth of what the main guys are worth, and I'm doing what I'm only worth a tenth.
Yeah.
Because he was saying somebody was getting $1 million a year.
Yeah.
And Kurt Angle. She's
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
She's like, Kurt's amazing, but you're telling me I'm not worth a tenth of what he is.
Yeah.
So that I thought that was messed up, but overall, I think this 3-part episode, and this is the first of Pudgy seeing Dark Side of the Ring.
Yeah.
So it was a great way to like, dude, if you're gonna watch it, watch these.
And R.I.P. to Toby Keith. He was a really
Yeah,
Oh,
that's what I was
yeah.
gonna say too. Like,
Yeah. He's-
And a good friend of
Yeah.
Jeff Jarrett.
him going to
Really
bat,
good friend.
he was like, "Man, how much you need? Let's go do it. Come
I
meet
love
me at the
that.
golf
I
course."
love that story right there about
Yeah.
Toby.
And him riding for him and saying, "Look, I'll put my money, I'll get behind it, but
Yeah.
Jeff's got to be a part of it."
Yeah.
And when they drug their feet, he's like, "I'm good."
Yeah.
I love
That's
that.
real. That's a
Yeah,
real.
that's
R.I.P.
real.
Toby
What's the same
Keith.
with Hogan? I mean, they would have never had Hogan, but what, Jarrett, they sent him?
Yes.
Yeah.
There was-
And I was shocked why it got 3 parts, but
You only need 2. I
the
thought.
more it went into it, I was like, man, there's so much that they didn't even touch on. And I don't know if it was legally they couldn't touch on it or what. There's so much they didn't cover. But man, the story from what happened, I thought was, man. I loved Karen Angle standing up for Jeff. in that
she loves
scene.
something.
I love that. I thought all that was great. I'd love to hear Dixie's side of it because I think it'd be full of bullshit lies.
you already
I'd
know.
love
That's
to
why she had nothing to say.
You know what she's gonna say, so
love
there's
to
no
hear
need for her to
it.
say.
Yeah, I'd love to hear it.
But yeah, man, if y'all are fans of Dark Side of the Ring, comment below what y'all thought of these episodes. If you haven't watched it, you can get on the Vice TV on YouTube. There's a bunch of episodes free to watch. You can purchase the whole seasons for like $15 on YouTube. That's what I do.
Yeah, Hulu, just watching on there. So
Or Hulu, Hulu too? Oh, there you go. Yeah.
Tubi, I think the whole
Older episodes on Tubi.
season 1 through 4, I think.
There you go. So y'all, you can go find
And
them.
what I've noticed, what they've done with this season, right after the episode airs, they automatically put it right on YouTube and
Yeah, they've been
everything for
doing it,
free
I noticed.
and
Yeah.
everything. They did it with the Necro, all 3 of the TNA episodes. They did it with the Necro Butcher Samoa Joe episode, and then they did it with the Boss Man episode, which the Boss Man episode.
Oh man.
Dude,
It gets sad as fuck, man. It really will.
I did not realize that man was 41
Ray
years old.
Trailer is definitely underrated.
I only knew Boss Man. I didn't know the behind the scenes stuff and how good of a father he was and all that.
Yeah,
The
that's-
second Boss Man that came back, man, should have been like unstoppable in the
Yeah.
Attitude Era.
Vince's Boss Man.
Vince's Boss Man should have been
Security
unstoppable.
guard.
Yeah.
But once again, it's Vince saying, "Oh, you want to go?"
Another one of those guys who should have been a world champion and never got a chance to be a world champion because Hogan was in the way. But he was the ultimate heel for Hogan, and then when Hogan
Well,
beat him,
But the one thing about it that I'll say before, because we'll end up jumping into Boss Man's episode. But like when Boss Man dropped the ball and missed that spot,
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah. I did not
I didn't
know
know about
that.
that.
I didn't either. And that was like him.
That was a big-
After that, it was never the same.
You hang them though. You hang them.
You hired
No, I know, bro. I know.
I was curious how they did that spot. I was like,
I still don't
how did that
understand.
He said it was the hardest.
There's a
I
hard-
know it, but it's still. It's just,
It looks so real. It looks so real.
Yeah.
I guess
tension on the rope,
how he had his-
on the harness that was ran through.
Yeah.
and then
How are you hanging this man?
You did it the first time. You couldn't
and his kids were there.
I wouldn't let
Any
him
big
put
boss man
anything
that
on
made
me
up
after
was
Owen
gonna
Hart
break
died.
hands.
Like, y'all ain't putting
Seriously?
nothing on my body.
No.
I'm not taking a chance dying in
But,
this ring. Like
you said, I never knew about that, him missing that spot
I didn't
until
know
that
either.
episode.
I've never heard
I
of it.
never knew that.
That makes more sense as to why he didn't get, because that was during he was fixing to get with Hogan.
Yeah.
And-
Oh no, he's about to get with Austin.
Or Austin,
Yeah,
yeah.
with Austin.
Yeah.
Starting the feud, he was coming
there's
out
just so
instead.
many people that haven't
Gerald
been a part
Briscoe
of
took
this
his
that I
spot.
need.
Yeah, for sure.
Like I want to hear Austin. I want to hear from guys who are no longer with WWE. I love
I wonder if it's because they're still part. They still have a legend
100%
still.
legend.
and
100% what it
everything.
is.
Yes.
That's probably something that you sign. You sign a legend that you can't get on these podcasts and say
Unless
what
it's
it
a
is.
WWE podcast.
Because he's on all the A&E biographies, which I'll tell off screen. It's just too much to talk about.
Yeah.
We're probably over an hour already.
Yeah, I'm looking
More,
for. Go ahead. No, you go ahead.
I was gonna say one more cool thing about the Jeff Jarrett TNA episode is they had those pretty much done, and Mortimer Plumtree had been filming a documentary, and he reached out to Dark Side of the Ring and gave them a lot of that backstage footage.
Oh.
And actually, Jeff Jarrett had them on My World, and they went through all that footage.
Oh, really?
It was a
First of all,
cool episode.
I need to see that episode with Jeff Jarrett and Mortimer Plumtree is the name of my next. This is like a rip rap fucking.
I'm not even.
Manager of the Johnsons.
Yeah, I'm not even.
that last name.
I'm not even.
That's like the third brother in them trading places or something.
I'm not even going to try to announce that. I'm going to say something.
I had a stroke just trying to say that. Shout out to everybody that tuned in.
Thank y'all so
Shout out to
much.
the Gaggle Wrestlers, K-Dub, Revolution One Media. Shout out to Dark Side of the Ring, man. Y'all comment below what y'all want us. Y'all want to do more Dark Side episodes?
Yeah.
We're gonna do them.
Yeah.
But just know which ones y'all want us to cover.
Your vote
Any
does
re-
not
any
matter.
It does matter just which one. Because I'll do all of them. But we'll see y'all next week. Next week we're going to be talking about our first episode of ECW, and I know Chance is super excited. Brandon's super excited. We're all super excited about
Yes.
the ECW episode. So.
Yeah. Thank y'all so much. Comment, like.
Over the top with Chad and Tony, talking about movies and wrestling. Hot Mike Chance joins the team, hating on me, Gene. BJ the DJ keeps the party going.